you have a skill set which makes me feel very uncomfortable saying it to you in person, sitting in a room with you.
But when I was undercover, sometimes I was pretending to be a client to buy drugs. I had to go through multiple emotional states and also keep my cool.
Because you know what's happening in your brain, you can almost control and manage it better because you can reframe.
So 93% of communication will be
So what does this have to do with revenue leadership? Absolutely everything. Welcome to the Rev Up Rebellion. Today's guest is Yann Schipfer, and he has the most extraordinary background and career that I've ever come across. At just 17, he began in the military as a paratrooper. From there, he moved into the world of elite law enforcement units and looked at riot control, covert undercover operations, so intense it actually became the subject of a feature film. He's worked across the globe, from training presidential guards in Africa to serving with US Department of Defense, often in high-stake environments where trust, communication, and adaptability meant absolutely everything. After relocating to Australia without speaking a word of English, he rebuilt his life, ultimately working in high-security correctional facilities. And today, he's now a psychotherapist. I truly believe some of the most powerful lessons in leadership, resilience, performance actually come from people outside of our industry. And today's conversation will take you through everything from managing high-stakes situations, body language, micro-expressions, and even what feet can tell you about a meeting room full of people. Yann, thank you so much for coming on. I have been looking forward to this so much because you have the most unique background. You have a skill set which makes me feel very uncomfortable saying it to you in person, sitting in a room with you, looking at you, around reading micro expressions, reading behavior, reading different cues and signals. And obviously I can understand how that skill set applies in your background, but I think it's also an interesting skill set in the world of work. For anyone who's not come across sort of micro expressions and that skill set, can you explain it to us?
Yes.
And then I'd love to understand, what are the stepping stones for us to start to learn that skill, and I guess some of the benefits of it as well, like why that would benefit us in that client situation or with our boss or whoever it is.
Expression. The Dr. Paul Ekman is an American psychologist, find out that we have the same micro expression, 7 universal micro expression that we all apply according to the emotion we're going to feel. So the Dr. Paul Ekman went to all the globally everywhere. He studied people in Russia, in France, Germany, people in Australia, in Brazil, and he found that we all have those 7 micro universal expressions. So we're going to have the same, we're going to use the same muscles, and we have the same, basically the same facial expression. Sorry. So the 7 micro expressions are a surprise, anger, sadness, contempt, disgust, fear, and happiness. He went to the extent of studying blind people from birth. They do have the same macro expression. So it's somehow it's rooted in our DNA. So what happens here when the micro expressions are going to be very subtle, very quick, less than a second, maybe half of a second, even quicker. If I do ask you any, I don't know, hey, how did you find that interview? The social cues here, you're going to tell me, no, you were very good. Then you're going to...
This is now getting really awkward because you're sitting face to face with someone talking about micro expressions. I'm like, I should have had some Botox.
Yeah, well, it's not finished yet, so maybe I still have a chance. But depending on what probably you can show up maybe anger or not sadness, maybe sadness or disgust. It's going to be very subtle. So what's happening in your brain here? The cortical limbic system, which is the emotions, will hijack your rational from the neocortex, and your face is going to show actually no good, the interview, but I can't tell you. So no, you were very good, and you can automatically, your subconscious is going to make you to show what you really think about it.
So then there's two parts to that for me. Okay, I want to dive into the conversation around how do you learn that skill and the benefit. So you're saying to your client, like, hey, are you happy with what the proposal we put on the table? And they're like, yeah, sure. But actually their body language is saying something different. Or your leader, like, my performance. Yeah, your performance is great. And the benefit. But then the other side, I was getting my hair done. I was talking to the hairdresser about you and coming on. And I was like, oh, it's so uncomfortable, like sitting with someone who can read you. And then we're like, yeah, but how do you then handle that? So like right now, if it was like my micro expression was like, yeah, you were great, but actually you were terrible. My micro expression was telling you something. You've got to then be able to handle what you're reading on someone's face. And like, if I'm having a meeting with my boss or my client and they're like showing disgust or contempt or some of those other of the 7 that you mentioned, you've got to be able to have the skill set to
rebound,
to deal with that. With what you're seeing and not sit in the corner and cry. So can you talk to us about those two sides?
To deal with it, look, if I did perform a poor job, too bad for me. At the end of the day, it's entirely my fault. You're talking about the business here, so if the deal was not provided with efficiency or whatsoever is behind it, it's basically the fault of the not the fault, but it's you've done a wrong job here. So you need to. We should acknowledge the fact that, okay, no, it's not going to go ahead, even though that person is telling me clearly that everything is all right. But no, it's not. So what should I do next time in order to improve that? I don't want you to stay on that failure. I think it would be, but not only about the business side, it's important in every aspect of life, intimate life, social life, with people you meet, I mean, everywhere.
But how do you handle that if you meet, we'll pick on Lachlan, who's our podcast producer in the corner here. You meet Lachlan and Lachlan just gives you a look like, nah. Like, you've then got to be able to rebound. So for example, without in the moment it throwing you to a point that then it's like, oh, well, that person can't stand me.
I will have to probably reformulate or change something here. Talking about micro expression, but you have also pacifiers that are very important. Pacifier would be the same principle than micro expression. Your cortical limbic system will hijack your basically, pacifier would be your brain telling you, please send me a pacifiers because I'm stressed here. So, you heard about pacifier?
No.
Pacifier is when I'm going to use my hands to whatsoever just to calm my nerve. So let's say I'm talking to you right now and I'm like, and you ask me something and I'll be like, yes, Lord, well, I don't know whatsoever you are asking me, but suddenly my idiosyncratic behavior is going to change and I'm going to do something with my hands, or I'm going to touch my legs, or whatsoever I'm going to do with my hands or my fingers will apply, hey, that's a pacifier. What's happening for Yann? Why is he suddenly using that pacifier? Is he stressed because of the question, or is he stressed because of there is something here that there is a cue here that makes me think that maybe there is something here?
I like that. Someone once put it to me that like some of our, and now I'm like, what do I do with my hands? I can't move my hands. But someone once put it to me that like emotions are data. And if you don't have the ability to be able to read some of the micro expressions, some of the behaviors, then it's like trying to read a spreadsheet and you're missing 50% of the data. Yes. And that surely it's better to know, so that then put it back into a business situation. You know, you could say to that client, like, hey, just want to check, like, is there anything else? Or, you know,
yes, exactly.
You're not necessarily going, hey, I read that micro expression on your face that you're pissed off with my proposal, but you might actually then go and ask some more questions rather than just leaving the room thinking everything's fine.
As per some data, although the source of so 93% of the communication will be body language.
Yeah.
55% will be kinesics, which is micro expressions, but also the gesture. 38% will be paralinguistic, the tone of my voice, the way how the intonation, the speed, utterance, prosody. 7% will be only words. And why that? It's because since a kid, we've been taught to lie, basically. If you're invited to a dinner somewhere as a kid, like 7 years old or whatsoever, you will say to your son, hey, even if the dinner was absolutely disgusting, you need to tell that you're happy about it, okay? It was a good dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, say it, please. So as a little one, yeah, okay, I need to lie in order to socially be being accepted. And also on an evolutionary point of view, if you think about, I think modern language, complex language was probably created. And it did happen like between 50,000 to 100,000 years ago, right? Before we could not talk, we could not convey an idea with words. We had to use body language. It's called I'm hungry, whatsoever. So it's rooted in our DNA.
Which is fascinating because if you think about it, in a lot of work situations, we focus on that 7% of the words.
Yes, yeah.
And we are never really trained, or in a lot of organizations, I'll make a mass generalization, we're not really trained around then understanding the body language and everything else. So we're focusing on 7% and not the other 93%.
Yes, because socially, and especially Western culture, we need to keep eye contact with you when I talk to you.
Yeah.
We say that the eyes are the window of the soul. So it would be very inappropriate for me to look at you and at the same time, I'm not looking at you actually, I'm going to look only your hands and your feet. And also, words are just, it's easier obviously to use words to communicate, right? If you want to have like a deep discussion or elaborate on certain topics, body language won't be enough. However, when it comes to assess the person, depending on the dynamic, yes, it's very accurate.
So if the accuracy is high, clearly worthwhile investing in, how would you recommend to people, like, how do you start this journey? How do you start to learn? Because I'm intrigued about that as well. Obviously, you don't want to be sitting in a business meeting being like, right, what's Yann doing with his hands? Right, what's he doing with it? Like staring at your face. Like, how do you start to learn and practice and play with some of those skills?
At first, when I met you, Abbie, I'm going to check on your idiosyncratic behavior. How is Abbie normally? What do you blink your eyes? Like, how many times are you going to blink your eyes? I did not count.
Did you count how many times I blinked my eyes today?
No, it was the first time I saw you, so I was a bit stressed, But I'm going to, okay, the way how you move, for example, the way what you do with your hands, so I'm going to establish, okay, this is Abbie. So, so that's going to be your idiosyncratic behavior, which is like your normal behavior. But suddenly, someone is going to come inside, someone comes in. And you're going to change. Your paralinguistic is going to change. The tone of your voice, your body language is going to change. Okay, that was the trigger that made Abbie change her idiosyncratic behavior. She did not act like this when she saw me. And suddenly that person comes in, she's a bit like, I don't know, she changed. So that would be the first component here. Assessing the person, how the person is, and finding what are the cues now that's going to be added or retract according to the dynamic.
Which I think could be fascinating. Again, in your world, personal life is fascinating, but in a work life, it's also fascinating because we're dealing with complex situations where you've got multiple people. And so watching, well, when someone's boss comes in the room, do they completely change how they're acting with you?
Yes.
Or, somebody else, one of your colleagues comes in and they completely change. And then understanding that dynamic of going, whoa, there's something there. And, that could actually impact, from a sales perspective, that can impact you.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you think, going back to the first steps then, it's actually just that awareness of being more present and aware to go, right, okay, I've turned up, I'm talking to Yann, how's he behaving, how's he acting, what's kind of the normal baseline?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you've kind of established a kind of some data for yourself here. Okay. Abbie was very smile at me, like she was very warm when I saw her at first. Very cool, talkative. Sorry. However, when I first arrived, the way how you stood up, I quickly understood. I knew that somehow there was a kind of, we had to keep quiet here. The way how you moved, the way how you stood up, you looked at me and was like, hey, I'm not going to do the Sydney, the Australian like way of, hey, how are you? Be like very emotional. It looks like we have to be quiet. And you confirmed after, hey, sorry, we need to be quiet here because they are recording in the studio, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you switch it off or not? Like if you go, okay, now we're going personal. You go on a date with someone, can you switch it off, or are you constantly now?
No, constantly. Mm.
This is fascinating. I think I would struggle with handling some of the, like I said, the response of some of it, and then going through that process of going, actually, if I learn this skill, you do this course, you do this training, you got to understand what's then coming back at you and then how to manage that process.
I would say it's like driving. It's becoming actually from the subconscious level. It's when driving, right? Remember when we first drove? We had a lot of information to assimilate, capture, and be sure that we're not going to kill someone or ourselves. And now you just drive and you can phone, or you don't have to use the phone, the mobile phone, but you can talk to someone while driving. You can listen to some music. You can actually, you can even eat. You can whatever. Yeah. It's a normal, natural process now. Yeah.
And is there anything, like if people now go, okay, I'm going to try and lean into this skill, I almost feel like all the women are shouting at me right now going, yeah, but what about if someone has had Botox or they've had something done? Like, actually, can you still use this as a skill?
Botox will be very hard to decipher happiness.
I should have done Botox. Damn it.
So when the happiness is genuine, you will you smile. But you have also the crow nest. Those muscles here are going to be involved. So if your smile is not genuine, those muscles are not going to be involved. So if there is a fake laugh here, I don't know. Oh, it's sunny today. Yeah. You can see that it's not a genuine because of those crow nest here. With Botox, it's going to be hard. You won't be able to see those muscles engaged. That's for happiness. You can also there is other way to assess, such as with using the pacifiers and also the paralinguistic. And according to the topic we are talking about. The way how you're going to formulate your words, all the informations you're going to send me. Yeah.
And how does that play out in the virtual world? Like you and I sitting here in person, so you can see how I acted when you walked in, and we had to be quiet because someone was recording. But you look at now our world of so much of personal and business, huge amounts on FaceTime, on Zoom, on whatever virtual platform, where you're kind of looking at like the top half of me. I had a funny one yesterday. I was talking to one of my clients and found out she was 38 weeks pregnant and was about to go on maternity leave. And I had no idea she was pregnant because I've looked at her from like there up and I've not got any vague understanding that she's, about to pop and 9 months pregnant. So you kind of miss a huge amount of the information, but can you still pick up on some of this, for us in a virtual setting of work? Can we still pick up on a lot of this?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you won't be able to see the fit, which is one of the primary component here. But you can still capture the way how I'm going to move, what I'm going to do with my hands, and my voice, obviously. The paralinguistic component, the vocals, and the way how I'm going to move my head. Yes.
Why feet?
Because there'll be the same before when we could not talk. Our feet were the primary engine of locomotion. We used our feet to hunt, to extract ourselves from a dangerous situation. So the feet would be there would be a very I wanted to say a French word, but it's not going to make any sense. The feet will be one of the primary components. So let's say if you're in a meeting, for example, not in a meeting, you're in a social networking. You can see a group of people talking with each other. Look at the feet of those people. If all the feet, or the majority of the feet, are turning towards one person, you can tell that that person will be the alpha, the leader. If you meet someone, like someone in the hall or whatsoever, and you talk to that person engage with you, blah, 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 but the feet are literally try it. If you bump into someone and you don't want to talk to that person, but as per the social context, you need to be polite and ask, just talk. Look at your feet. Your feet will show the opposite direction of that person.
So my feet now are looking at you.
Yes.
I'm wanting to talk to you.
Yeah, we are engaged.
Fantastic.
But there will be.
But Lachlan's feet are away from us. Our podcast producer is away from us. Should we?
He doesn't talk. Lachlan doesn't talk to us.
So you will look at like how people in a meeting, like there's a group of people in a meeting.
Yeah. There is also another, like the starter block, for example. You know those in athleticism, the sprint. We have I don't run, but those feet have a kind of a specific posture, position. They are about to run on a starting block, right? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You will be surprised to see your feet in that if you have like some running shoes, for example, in that kind of a same posture. If you're not happy to be with those person around, you want to get out. Yeah. Same when you are with do the experience. Go to Martin Place or whatever you go and watch the feet of those person. You have the jingle feet, the feet bouncing.
Yeah.
You have so many cues that the feet will give you. Yes.
So curious about it. It's something I definitely want to play with and just need to deal with what comes back. I want to focus on slight topic change around behavioral change. If I've understood it correctly, some of what you were doing more so when you sort of were with New South Wales with the corrective services, you were looking at some of that. Okay, how do you actually get that behavioral change if someone's been in, prison for a long time, they're trying to turn a corner, trying to go back into society. And I'm curious around lessons from that. I know that, for lots of us, we're looking at, okay, how do I change a component of my life? Or how do I, whether it's step it up at work, step it up in my personal life, or create a change of some description. I think as humans, we're not always the best at change. It's hard to change. Yes. How do you approach change?
The environment would be the primary, one of the primary sources. The environment, obviously the willingness. But your peers, the people you hang out with. Before joining the army, I was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and if I kept doing what I was doing, I probably won't be here talking to you right now. So peers would be also very primary. Your peers, your environment, your willingness to learn. Yeah. The way how you approach things. If you're open to learn, I would say education would be also a big component here. I'd have that pleasure to learn about body language, for example, why my cortical limbic is going to hijack my neocortex. Why that? What's happening here? How come? I mean, I find it fascinating. So,
And can you then, because you know what's happening in your brain, you can almost control and manage it better because you can reframe?
For example, I would say yeah, but no. However, yes, I can see the difference. For example, when I first arrived here, I was cool, but when I saw the camera here on my left side, I was like, no way, I'm going to be filmed. I hate it. So my heartbeat start racing, and what the fuck, what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. I hate it. And knowing what's happening within myself, in my brain, I could somehow, even though I probably look like a spastic with my hands like this, but somehow it's calming me.
Yeah, okay,
I can be, instead of being like talking super fast, slurring my words. I have the impression I did not. Maybe I did. Yeah. But yes, I have more clarity here. Yes.
So you can gain the composure even in a situation where you're uncomfortable because you've developed the skill set.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I do well though.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a skill that we all need, because every day you're in situations where you're uncomfortable or something happens that you weren't expecting, and you have to be able to manage it. And I think there's an art in that. And adapt.
And perform. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
On that final note of perform, one word that you said, or two words that you said in an email to me that really piqued my interest around, from all the experiences you've had, something you really learned was operational excellence. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because I think right now what I'm noticing in the world of work and just generally in the world, you speak to anyone, how are you busy? How are you busy? How are you busy? How are you busy? And we're all just kind of like surviving and busy amongst the noise, and our ability to execute and have operational excellence and that level, that discipline, that standard, it sometimes can drop because we're moving at such speed with such disruption. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on you, and tell me if I've twisted your words, but you talked about, a common theme amongst your experience is operational excellence.
Yes, you want to reach the optimum. You want to be the best at what you do, especially in the force, where the stake of life and death can be a very often shown to you. So there is no, even though you make mistakes, obviously, but you try to minimize the mistake you can make. So you got to be in an excellent level of operational here, in your mind, in your execution, the way how you behave, the way how you capture informations. Yes.
Do you think some of that comes down to, I'm going to imagine you've got huge amounts of discipline, or you've had to develop huge amounts of discipline with some of your career?
I had to develop a huge amount of discipline. Yeah. It was not easy. And yes, of course. Yes.
How do you develop your discipline?
I would say sport helps me a lot. Training, competing, educating myself too. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Reading a lot, watching documentaries. Yeah.
Always learning.
Yes. Yeah. That's going to give me some. It's going to help me to understand myself, but also others. So I find it very beneficial. Yes. And constantly I'll be challenged by what I'm reading or what I'm watching.
Yeah, and I found you so fascinating, from just how you've put yourself in uncomfortable positions, how you're constantly pushing out and growing, how you've kind of adapted and transformed yourself, some of the skills you've developed. If any of our audience want to connect with you, where's the best place to find you and check out your details?
I would say I have a website, Neural Nexus, neuralnexusclinic.com. Otherwise, my social media, although I never go on it. On Instagram, it would be a Neural Nexus Clinic. Yeah, that's about it.
And then everyone just needs to remember when they book a call or meeting with you how their feet are, and make sure their feet are pointing the right way.
I can obviously, yes, I can help. I'm happy to help anyone who is not willing to, but is interested in body language. Yes, I find it fascinating. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's interesting you use the word willing. It's also that willingness that you want to be there, you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yann, thank you so much. You have been an incredible guest, and thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Before you go, if you haven't come across our Rev Up program yet, we look at all of the capabilities that you need in sales and go-to-market to succeed. And what we did was we curated the best of the best expert to be able to deliver you live interactive masterclasses over a 12-month period, each with a challenge to translate your learning into action. The waitlist is over 50% full, so please make sure that you check out all the details in the show notes if it sounds like it's of interest, and jump on the waitlist so that you'll be the first to hear as we go live with the 2026 cohort. Finally, if you're enjoying our podcast episodes, we have got much more of Where That Came From coming really soon with the most incredible guests. So don't forget to subscribe so that you receive every episode as it goes live each Tuesday.